Hey y'all, welcome back to the channel, and thank you for clicking on the video. It's been about 2 months since my last build video.
Oh my god!
Yeah, real life and other games have caught my attention, but we're back now, and we're going to explore the newest update, Jade Shadows. This update just launched on all platforms, and it's brought a lot of content to cover. This video will be going over the Dark Propagation Augment for Sevagoth's second ability, So. Special thanks to DE for providing me free access to this augment too. In order to understand this augment, you're going to need to understand Sevagoth. As of right now, Sevagoth is the hardest, most expensive Warframe in the game to build. So if you're a new player who's still gathering mods, resources, endo, and things like that, I recommend you hold off on making this build until you are more prepared and qualified to make the investment. Let's first look at the augment and then see how it interacts with his kit. It reads, Dark Propagation, So Augment. Enemies killed while inflicted with So spread its effect in a 15-meter radius. Shadow's Death Harvest also inflicts So. Now, it says 15 meters, but again, this is one of those cool augments that is affected by modded range. So you are able to adjust the way that this augment actually affects itself, which is really, really cool. Now let's get into how it affects his skills and what I was referring to about how it affects his fourth ability too. Now that we know what Dark Propagation does, let's read about his second ability and how it affects his fourth thanks to the augment. So reads, plant a seed of death in nearby targets to drain their life force. Reap what has been sown to detonate afflicted enemies, dealing a percentage of their health as radial damage. The souls of the dead fill the dead well. The dead well being his passive meter bar that enables you, once full, to unlock his fourth skill, which turns you into an Exalted Shadow. The interesting thing about this augment is it not only works with his second ability, but it also works with his fourth ability's third ability, Death Harvest. So if we go over to his Shadow and look at his Shadow's ability, Death Harvest, this is what it's talking about. Normally, this ability just applies a CC effect onto enemies, enabling you to get in close for free and do some melee damage. And it applies damage vulnerability. The interesting thing is with this augment, it now applies So, which when they are killed, they explode. So it's kind of a way to sort of mesh back into his primary kit while also combining with his secondary kit. It's an interesting augment. That's why I wanted to cover it. What I like about this augment the most is its ability to spread So upon death of enemies already inflicted by So, which means that you have to cast the ability less, enabling you to conserve your energy more while Gloom is active. Gloom is also another skill, a part of Sevagoth's kit, that enables you to feed the death well meter that So does too. You are able to get in and out of your fourth ability extremely quickly with this augment, and you'll see that in the gameplay here as I'm going back and forth. Oh, I die in my fourth, no problem. I will literally just go right back into it because so many enemies are afflicted by So that I can just constantly spam my fourth and enable me to completely control the field. Now, this augment is good on paper. Now, on solo play, it's a little dicey depending on what faction you're going against. I always like to test against the Orokin because in my opinion, they are probably the hardest, at least the most tedious to deal with. So you can kind of see exactly how good it is against when you're getting overrun by ads. Now, this is a great augment to pair with a team comp. Now, who I would pair it with, that's up to you to decide. But this is a really good augment if you decide to go into a mission with a group of friends or even solo play with randoms. They're going to thank you because we're also going to be combining it with his other augment, Shadow Haze. The reason why is because Shadow Haze spawns up to three shadows, and these shadows enable you to detonate of enemies afflicted by So. As you read with the skill Reap, when you cast Reap or if enemies affected by the shadow, it will detonate So. Another way for you to build your meter constantly, enabling you to get in and out of your fourth ability all the time, like you see in the gameplay. Another great thing about the Shadow Haze augment is that it also gives a flat additive 50% crit chance, which scales with strength to you and your allies. It affects weapons and exalted weapons too. It is extremely strong. Now that the word vomit of Sevagoth's abilities are out of the way, let's talk about his build, the moment you guys have all been waiting for. As I stated before at the beginning, Sevagoth is extremely expensive to build. I find joy in playing him, I find joy in crafting and spending all my resources making him work, but of course, he's not going to be for everyone. So, with that being said, we have 5 Tau Shards. 4 of them are red ability. The reason we have 4 red abilities is because the strength for Sevagoth does affect his Shadow Haze, and as I mentioned before, I am running 2 different builds with this one single frame. Of course, if you want to spend 40 formas on 2 different Sevagoths, be my guest, but I'm not doing that. So we have these Tau Forge Shards, which affect his Shadow Haze Augment. Like I mentioned before, it affects the crit chance. But in this portion of the build, it gets us back to base 100. So la-di-da. Secondly, we have Parkour Velocity. He's pretty slow and he needs to move around a lot to work, so we have Parkour Velocity. Now for the main build for Sevagoth, we are running something like this. Now, as I mentioned, we do have Shadow Haze and Dark Propagation. We are running both augments. We have a ton of energy. We want to max out range because his range is going to affect his 1 and his 3. So we do want a lot of range. Duration is not too important. So it has a little less than 10 seconds. They're going to die so fast and spread so fast that the timer is constantly refreshing. So we don't really mind running Fleeting Expertise. We really want that so that we can always have Gloom up. That's the important thing, because that's helping us CC while we're in our 4th. Because if you don't know, Gloom remains active even when you go into his Exalted Shadow, which is really cool. And then, of course, his 1 is based off duration, but with 3 of them flying around and constantly resetting, again, the timer is kind of no big deal. We do have Multi-Augmented. This does fix a little bit of the lack of strength because we do want Gloom to slow a decent bit. And then we have Arcane Energize. Guys, if you don't have this yet, you should have it. Like I said, this build is not for new players, so new players, don't worry about this. You won't get this for a while, but if you're semi-veteran or a veteran, you should have this by now. The Kalimo sequence update, with the Phosphor, you should have this by now. Prem Sure-Footed, Ability Strength, Adaptation. We want to survive. So this is pretty standard. The only, main thing is, again, we have the 2 augments, okay? These are the stats. These are the stats for the abilities here. Okay, now let's talk about his Shadow. Now that gameplay, I was actually level 0 while I was doing it because I had to reform it. But this is the Shadow build. Of course, we've got Steel Charge. We are doing exclusively heavy attacks with this build. Heavy attacks are the main way to do a lot of damage in his Shadow form, so I don't recommend building for just fast attacks or normal swipes. You definitely want to do heavy attacks only. So we do have Reaper for a little bit of DR and health regen, and of course we have Fury. Fury is melee damage. Cool thing about Reaper is that it gives health regen, which combines with Gloom, so it's a little bit easier to stay alive. Not a big deal, because when you die in your 4, you can immediately go back in it. Again, we've got Flow, and we also have Preparation. Preparation is kind of a cheat sheet, a cheat code, if you will. Every time you cast it, this Preparation procs. So you always have max energy when you go into your 4. So really, it's really nice to have, because, if you're going to be spamming your 1 and your 3, you're going to want a decent amount of energy in order to cast them. So health, duration, range, status immunity, and invulnerability, rolling guard, and more range. So this is the main build. We do have a little over 200 strength, so that our damage vulnerability is really, really high. 107. That's enabling us to do about 1 million damage per heavy attack, and then a few million for the slash ticks. Very, very strong, like you saw in the gameplay. And then finally, his Shadow Claws. Shadow Claws, pretty standard build for heavy attacks. We're maximizing in on slash damage, and of course, heavy windup speed, critical damage, and crit chance. Range is really important too, because when you grab them in with his 4th ability's first ability, you need to have a good amount of range to hit all the adds you just brought with you. So I don't believe his claws have moddable. Let's see, what's the follow through? It is 100% follow through. So maximize your range. There you go. Now I remember why I put that there. He has 100% follow through. So the more range, the more enemies you will hit. So it's important to do that. There's no diminishing returns there. But overall, yeah, that's the build. And that brings us to the end of the video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Additional information about this build. It's important for you to find a tile set that has a wide open floor plan. When you pull enemies inside of Sevagoth's Fourth, the enemies can get trapped and stuck on obstacles, so it's important for you to have clear line of sight in order for you not to have to track them down and move so much, because you want to be able to sit in one area and control that area and bring the enemies to you. Because when you go into your floor, you want to make sure your Sevagoth mainframe is still under gloom. That way, when you pull the enemies towards you, or the ones on the outer limits are not going to be blasting you. It makes for a more enjoyable experience. Other than that, this channel is also going to be uploading a few more videos throughout the week, and next week we're going to be covering the rest of the augment list, Daggett, Corvex. We're also going to be talking about Jade, too. I need a little bit more time to fully grasp her kit, because she's got a lot going on. She's not as convoluted as Dante, but she's almost there, so it's going to take a little bit for me to make a video on that. I wanted to make a Sevagoth video first, because he is one of my favorite frames, and an augment for So, and what they did with it seemed really, really interesting, and a brand new way to play him. So, normally you would subsume Office 4, ironically. It's kind of bad, but not so much now with this augment. I think it's actually very strong when you run it with the augment. So, and lastly, I will be attending TennoCon this year. This is the first time I've ever been to TennoCon. I did get invited out by DE. They did provide me with some tickets, so I plan on going out there. Just the event tickets, but I'm going there with a friend, and I'm going to meet up with some other creators, and I'm really looking forward to it. And I guess I'll dedicate this end of the video to thanking you guys for that, because without the support, I wouldn't be a partner, and I wouldn't, have these opportunities. So thank you so much for watching, and if you're still here, thank you for watching till the end. I will catch you in the next one. Peace out.